The Master Preferences page gives you the ability to set what the default setup for many of the components of the software is. At the top, you can choose your club if you have more than one linked club. The invoice auto number. If you set a number in here, then invoices created by the software will start with that number and increase accordingly as you add invoices. If this is left blank, then the invoice will just automatically default to a date and timestamp. The barcode auto number works in the same way. If this is blank, then barcodes for new clients will be left blank by default. If there's a number that you fill in here, then every new client will automatically be assigned a barcode one up from the previous one. You can set your default module options for clients. So this is the default settings for what clients have access to for the fitness components of the software. Hidden from clients mean that they will not even display in the client's menu at all. That also means that staff will not be able to see those. Client can view only means they'll be able to see these various sections or components, but not be able to edit them. They'll be reliant on a trainer who has edit access to do that. Client can view and edit gives them the same access that a trainer would, where they can go in, make changes, updates, and add new. You can choose to enable the resistance component of the software, and you can set it up so the client can view and print only, they can only modify the exercises, or they have no restrictions and can create new programs. You can also set a delay so that anytime a new program is created, there's a delay before it's released to the client. This is helpful if you're selling online resistance training and you want it to appear that a trainer is building the client for the program, for the client rather than the software. This way, if there's a 120-minute delay, once a program is suggested for the client, they'll be told that there's a 2-hour delay till they can access that program while the trainer builds it, when in fact the software has already built the program in the background and then releases it after 2 hours. You can choose to enable or disable the cardio, nutrition, competitions, calendar, and billing modules of the software as well by default. You can set what your mandatory client contact fields are. This is going to be for your agreements in the software. And there are a couple of staff settings you can set as well. Under the Configuration tab, there are several different options that you can use here. Different types of classes that you can add, restrictions on weight loss deficits, setting default macronutrient percentages, and several others. You can also choose to exclude specific payment types from the POS system. And you can choose to create a series of competition points questions and the point value for those questions that can then be used in competitions in the software. For more information about that, see the help video under competitions. Under the Assessments tab, here's where you can set up what your default cardio assessment is, or disable specific cardio assessments, and set up what your default strength assessments are for each muscle group. There are up to 3 exercises per muscle group that can then be selected by the client or trainer when they're doing a strength assessment. Under the Color tab, you can set up your default calendar colors. These are the border colors that will display for various statuses on the sessions. For the colors of the items themselves on the calendar, that will be set under the billing system when you create each individual item. You can also set your theme color. This will control the color of your menu. There are several options to use down at the bottom, but you can also just fill in any hex code color. And finally, under the Sessions Classes tab, you can set up defaults, for example, for personal sessions, what your minimum unbook time is for clients. So if they self-book a personal training session, in this case 48 hours would be required prior to that session time for them to be able to unbook that session themselves. Otherwise, they'll need to contact the club to have it done. Group Sessions has more options. You can choose how many days in advance to allow clients to book into a class, plus several other features. The start-end times would be used so it displays your club's opening and closing hours on your calendar when you have your group calendar. There's also links that you can display for various calendars that you can use then on your website.